Hello everyone, welcome back to Selenium Webdriver tutorial in Java, and in this video we are going to see locators in Selenium. So first we will see what is locators. Locator is a command that tells Selenium which web element, say text box, buttons, checkbox, etc. it needs to operate on. So if you take about any web application, it may contain a lot of controls like text box, drop down, radio button, and checkbox, etc. But these are all commonly called as web elements in Selenium. So if you want to interact or if you want to do any operation on that particular control, you should first locate that element using a locators provided by the Selenium, and then only you can perform some operation on that web element. So first we will see how to locate that. So this Selenium has provided 8 different way to locate an element. First one is ID, name, link text, partial link text, tag name, class name, CSS, and Xpath. So these are all the 8 different type of locators available in Selenium to interact with any of the web element. So we have to use any one of the locators to perform some operation. So we will explore those locators in detail. If you see, I have taken a web page of Google, and this is a HTML code of this Google search box. If you see the HTML code, it will look like this. I will in the next video I will show you how to see the source code of any web application, but just for this video, assume that this is a HTML code of this Google search text box, and I want to enter some text in the Google search box. In order to enter some text, I should first locate the web element of this text box. So I've used a method called driver.findElement. So you are already aware that how to instantiate a driver. First you have to instantiate a driver. After you have instantiated your driver, you can use the driver, and this driver will list a method called findElement. You should use the findElement, and this findElement accept one parameter called by class, and using the by class, if you use this by class, it will list different locators. And here, since we are going with ID, I should use a method called ID, and this ID method accept one parameter, and that is you have to pass ID of the control which you want to perform some operation. Here I want to perform some operation on the Google search text box, so I have given an ID of this Google text box, search text box, LST-IB, that you can see here. So there is one more parenthesis that needs to come. So sorry that I have missed it. And next way is you can also locate by name. If you see this Google search text box, it also contain a name, but in some case it may contain ID or name, but in some case also it may not contain both ID and name, and in that case you should know how to you should use a different locating mechanism to interact with that text box. And here we will see how to locate by name. So the command is a little bit of same, but instead of ID here we have to use a name, and in this name accept one parenthesis, one parameter, and where you have to pass name of this Google search text box. You can see that name is Q, so I am passing the name. Once it is done, you can perform some operations, like you can use a method called send keys to send text to the text box, and you can click on the text box. So whatever operation you want to perform, you can do once you have located this text box. And locate by link text. So if you see, this is a screenshot I taken at the top of a Google web page, at the top right corner of the Google web page, and the HTML code of this Gmail is like this. So first of all, you should know what is link text. Link text is a normal plain text, but when you click on that link text, it will take you to another web page or another web application or another website. So you should know how to, if you want to ensure that whether it is actually link text or not, you can do so with the HTML code. If you look into the HTML code, you can see that it resides inside a tag name called A. So if any of the text which contain a tag name A, then you can very well assume that it's a link text. And this is a driver, this is a Java command to interact with that link text. So driver.findElement this by class contain a method called a link text, and inside the link text you have to pass the actual link text. Here if it's here it is a Gmail, so I'm just passing it a Gmail. And next one is locate by partial link text. So this is another locating mechanism provided by Selenium. Just assume that if the link text is around 3 or 4 line, and in this case you cannot copy the entire text and put it here, your code will look messy. So in order to avoid that, this Selenium has provided partial link text. Here you can use a method called partial link text, and inside that partial link text it accepts one parameter where you can just pass the partial text, whether you have taken from the start of the text or middle of the text or the last line of the text. It will read the text and perform operation. So one thing you just want to ensure when you are doing partial link text is you should not, the web application should not contain another link with the same text. For example, I need to ensure that this Google web page should not contain text called Google other than this use google.com. If it contain this text, if any of the link contain this text, then it will perform, then the Selenium will just go with the first link text it identified. So it's irrespective of how many link text it's available, what is the first link text it finds, it will go ahead with the link text and perform operation whatever you want to do. So you just need to ensure that when you are using partial link text. And this is locate by tag name. So if you see, if you know fundamental about HTML language, then you could see that whatever the controls you are creating, it should resides within any of the tag name. For example, link text belong to a tag name A, and text box belong to a tag name input, and if there is a form, that belong to a tag name form. So all the HTML web elements belong to a particular tag, and this tag name help to find the element which is present inside that tag name. So in this case, I want to get all the link text available on the Google web page. So I have created a list. If you see that here we have to create a web element, and we can assign a web element variable to this command that I will show you in the next video. And like that, here we have created a list, and here we have created a variable of that list all links, and inside this and we are assigning a value driver dot find elements, and find here you can notice that I have used a method called find elements, unlike this find element, because this find elements return a list of elements that you are going to find. And this find element accept a by class, and inside the by class I've used a tag name. Inside this tag name you have to pass any one of the tag. So I want to get list of link, so I have used a tag name called A. If you want to get the list of input, you should you should pass input here. So since I have used a, this all links return a list of links available in the Google web page. If you want to see the text, you can use system.out.print, and you can use all links.getText method to print all the text that is present on this Google web page. And this is a locate by class name. So I have taken as Google search text box, and this is HTML code. You can see that this text box also contain a class, and this class name is a GSFI. So in the by class I've used a method called class name, and inside the class name I have passed the class of this text box. And next one is locate by CSS. So CSS is nothing but a cascading style sheet. This was used by a developer to add style and better enhancement to the website. So if you want to change the color of the button, or if you want to perform some animation on a button or any other control, he could use CSS, and this Selenium has provided an option to use a CSS as one of the locating elements. So this is the CSS. We can do a lot of stuff with the CSS that I will thought of creating a new video especially for CSS and Xpath. And just for this video, just assume that CSS is also one of the locating elements in Selenium, and we have to use a method called CSS selector, and inside the CSS selector we have to pass the CSS selector CSS selector of element that you want to interact. So in this case, I want to perform some operation on the Gmail page of email text box. That this is a HTML element. Here you can see that it's belong to a tag name input and the ID is email. So if you want to use a CSS selector, you should know how to create a CSS selector for this email text box. So since it is an ID, you should use tag name hash ID name. So this tag name is an input here, and I have used a hash and the ID is email. If you want to use a class name, you should use tag name dot class name. That we will explore shortly in the next video. And the next one is locate by Xpath. So this is a sample web page, and here this is a HTML element of this text box, and I've used a method called by.xpath, and inside that xpath you have to pass the xpath. You should know how to prepare xpath, but of course there are a lot of plugins available in Chrome as well as in Firefox that will you can just drag and drop and put it on a element which you want to find xpath. It will give you xpath instantly. That we will explore it very shortly in the upcoming video. But here is a xpath of this text box. This is one way of this is a first way of identifying with xpath, and this is an second way of identifying it with xpath. But there are n number of ways you can identify an element with xpath, and we will see that very shortly. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, give thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We will see more about the Selenium in the next video. Until then, bye.